Good morning, friends. Hello there. Nice to see you. So, wherever you are, I see you signing in from here and there, here and there, here and there. Wherever you are, and however you are, here we are. What good fortune reminds me of. And when Leonard Cohen played at the O2 in London, and he said something at the beginning of the concert like, "What good fortune we have to be gathered here like this among friends when so much of the world is plunged into darkness." I'm reminded of that sentiment, just even if there's all kinds of difficult circumstances, inner and or outer, where you are right now. So a sense of good fortune that in this moment we get to sit, gather, settle, be sort of awake, open. Very important not to take that for granted. To actually remind oneself very, 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 very regularly, to remind oneself of one's good fortune. Because if we don't have the habit of that, we easily remind ourselves of what seems to be wrong. And then we end up just complaining inwardly, complaining about ourselves to ourselves, complaining about others to ourselves, complaining about circumstances, just feeling things are wrong, things are bad, things are no good. And I mean, it's not to be in denial of that. There may be things that are really difficult inwardly or outwardly. But it's sort of like when we're sick or if we have pain, and when people have pain, and it may be, the pain born of an injury, or it may be some chronic pain condition that's ongoing. And people will say, "Oh, I've got constant pain." Or sometimes on retreat, people will say, I constantly feel as if, such and such, so emotional pain, Or ever since I've got here, I've been feeling da da da. Or I always feel as if da da da. And as soon as I hear that kind of emphatic language, always, never, constantly, it's like an alarm bell, because it's never true. Right? Feeling states just aren't that powerful. They don't last very long. And so even if you have a consistent, or what we call an ongoing or chronic pain condition, even if you have an emotional state that feels thick and kind of solid and like it's always there, don't let yourself believe that that's the truth. It's not always there. It comes and goes quite fleetingly, and then it's replaced quite quickly with something else. And amidst even what might be very difficult circumstances, there are moments when you might laugh, for example, at something, or where you might be touched by a moment of beauty, a moment where you might sit with dharma friends, have a moment of quiet and reflection, intimacy. So that's why I say it's so important to break up, to recognize those, because it breaks up the narrative of our hard luck story. How easily we go around telling ourselves a hard luck story. And again, it's not to be dismissive or in denial of the very real challenges we face, but I think there's something about just calling it that, calling it a hard luck story. What's going on? Oh, just my hard luck story. So doing that can help to depersonalize it, to de-dramatize it, to solidify it. Because in the end, that's what it is. It's my hard luck story. And I reinforce it if I compare it to others and how I think they're doing and how I think I should be doing. But that's what makes our hard luck story painful. It's the personalizing it, me, poor me. The dramatizing it, oh, it shouldn't be like this, why now, why me, why this, why? And the solidifying of it, this is my life, this is what it's like. Nobody understands me. You know, it's like, this is what I've got to deal with, this is my burden. Whew. What would your hard luck story be if it wasn't so personalized, so dramatized, so solidified? So we've been in a rather vague way. I've sort of been saying whatever comes into my mind in the mornings, really, but partly we've been kind of weaving in and out of the announced theme for the week, which was everything to lose, nothing to fear. And so looking at nuances, we looked at fear yesterday in different ways, looking at nuances of letting go or releasing the grip on experience, of softening that grip, of knowing a loose relationship, holding our experience lightly, loosely, lovingly. And I was in a conversation yesterday with a student about the sense when we actually soften and open, the sense of vulnerability that can often be there. And the way in which it can feel like letting go or letting in what's happening or opening to whatever's happening can seem unsafe in some ways. You feel vulnerable, you feel exposed. And it's sort of like that's the doorway. The doorway to real openness is fear of that openness, fear of being unprotected in some way, undefended. The doorway to true relaxation, right, is the resistance to relaxation, the idea or the sense, the feeling that I need to hold myself together. So I think it's important to normalize that doorway, because when we get to the doorway and we feel resistance or we feel fear or we feel, that kind of even existential terror actually can be in that doorway, that sense that if I let go, I will melt. If I let go and allow myself to feel sadness or grief, that I'll drown in it. There'll be too much of it. If I just let go of the story and allow myself just to feel anger, the anger that's driving that story, that anger will be too much. It will burn me up. I'll lose control. It's often what the fear is in the doorway of letting go. It's the fear of being out of control in some way or other. That the sadness or grief will engulf me and I'll lose control, or that the anger and rage will engulf me and I'll lose control. And it's true in a certain way, but not in another, crucially. It's true in the sense that we will stop controlling our experience, but it's not true in as much as what we think that means. We think that to lose control is somehow to kind of like, you can re-exert control anytime you like. You're an expert at controlling. We all are. We've spent decades honing the art of controlling our experience. So you don't lose that capacity. What you lose is your dependence on that capacity. It's such a relief to find that you actually don't need to control anything like as much as you thought you did. And if you do come across something you need to control, you can just control it. You can shut down if you need to. You can distract yourself if you need to. You can start blaming someone if that seems like it would be a good idea. Right? But so what I really want to emphasize, like Maureen is saying in the comments, right, that it's the reminder that, oh yeah, it's totally normal that the road into openness and relaxation is bumpy. The doorway is narrow, if you like. And that it's actually a sign, the fact that we feel nervous, agitated, troubled, fearful about relaxing, it's a sign that our practice is deepening. Yeah. So that sense of oh, going very gently with that. One is just knowing that that's true, right? Just knowing that it's that there's that point of resistance very often on the way to letting go. And then knowing that it's true in that way, it allows us to be kind of tender as we hit that resistance. And also that reminder that, well, hey, let go. You don't have to let go completely. Just let go a little bit. Like, what if you were to just relax 5%? Oh, 5% is okay, actually. Oh, it feels better. Okay, what about 5% more? Oh, so you can go very gently with that process. Yeah. And it's also the more we get to know the resistance to letting go, or the resistance to just relaxing and opening, the more we learn about those mechanisms of protection. So, I think it's helpful not to see those mechanisms of protection as just a problem or just something in the way. It's part of the territory. Part of the territory. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I'm aware, just noticing in the comments, I'm aware, Rivka, that that particular hard luck story is about as extreme, about as intense as one can get, being in the midst of of real violence and bloodshed and the extreme fear and hatred and violence that happens out of all of that. So I feel for you in the midst of that, as do so many other people, and just lending you their hearts in solidarity. Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you're able to be here in the midst of all that intensity. All right, friends, let's lean a little into the possibility. Lean a little into the possibility of whatever's going on right now. The possibility of just softening a little, opening a little, and being rather tender, gentle, compassionate with any kind of resistance that we find along the way. It's like this that we practice together. Let your attention gather and settle without any forcing, as if your attention that tends to swirl around and follow its habits and chase after this or that story or memory or whatever, as if all that swirling attention most wants just to gather itself like a cloud, like a mist, that then can soak into the feel of sitting here. Entering into your cells. Suffusing and calming your nervous system. Softening your belly. pervading your whole psyche with a sense of presence, awakeness, sensitivity. Entering a little more with each breath, a little more in each moment into the direct sense of being here. Entering into this field of here-ness, in the aliveness of your cells, in the feel of your breath. Settling like this into meditation. Gently leaning your practice in the direction of softening, opening, relaxing. Nothing to defend, nothing to control, nothing to manage, nothing to resist. leaving your stories alone. Gently softening your grip around the drama of your life. Letting your cells dance freely. Softening and opening. Using the natural rhythm and feel of breath. There's a natural softening in the out-breath. Invitation to relax. And there's a natural opening to the in-breath, and that sense of expansion. As you really sense into sitting here, wherever you feel the edges of your body to be, you soften a little and open a little there at the edges. Letting your sense of being here be a little more edgeless, undefended. And wherever you sense the edges of your mind to be, if you have such a sense, can that edge also soften and open? So we see if it's possible to sit here in a way that's edgeless, that's undefended, undemanding. Clinging to nothing, open to everything. And if you encounter fear, resistance, a reflexive need to contract, just being tender with that. Maybe you can soften and open just 5%. Softening the grip around thought streams and ideas and reactions when you notice them. Opening your intention so that sounds and sensations can all pass through freely. letting go of ideas about what might be happening, letting go of ideas of who you think you are. It's like Ajahn Chah famously said, let go a little and you'll know a little peace. Let go a lot and you'll know a lot of peace. Let go completely and you'll know complete peace and freedom here and now. Like this. During these last minutes of sitting, experiment with edges, with relaxation, with softening and opening. With letting go of control and of measurement. Experiment with transparency, relaxing in such a way that everything passes straight through you. Experiment maybe with dissolving, disappearing, melting into becoming one with, completely embracing the world of inner and outer. Of time and space. Of everything. May we meet resistance with love. May we meet fear with relaxation. And may we, little by little, or maybe all at once. May we completely give up our hard luck story and then see what remains and how to meet it skillfully. Good way to begin the day. So friends, time to explore anything that might be alive for you, to ask questions that might seem pertinent or helpful. And before getting into the questions, and because it's Friday is the day I bang the dharma drum. A reminder, week of practice and teachings together, week hopefully that's beneficial, supportive. And that's the wish in which all of the goodwill comes here, the wish for that which is supportive and beneficial. So just the invitation to reflect on that which is sufficient, beneficial and supportive, and whatever way you might be able to contribute to that support. All this can only happen because of all kinds of support of teachers showing up and offering teachings and practices, the support of all the staff that make everything happen at Sangha Live and ensure live teachings almost every day of every month now. And then the support of all of you and your many kindnesses to each other expressed in the chat, etc. And then also the support of financial offerings, which are like have to be there to keep the show on the road, as it were, and to meet the however many thousands euros every month of overheads that Sangha Life has, just to pay all the technical costs and the hosting and the accounting and the exchanging of currencies and the managing of just the paying of bills and the staffing and design and all that stuff. So and supporting teachers. So I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what's possible for you, and it may be, as I say frequently, if you don't feel at all able to offer anything, that's really okay. There's no pressure. That's the principle of dharma. There's not a pressure to give. There's an offering. Please take in the offering. Let it be beneficial and supportive. And then you see what's possible. If nothing's possible, just drink in the blessings. And see what other ways you might be able to be of support and benefit to people. That's also dharma. And there may be ways in your life that you're being of benefit and supportive to people, but that there's no spare cash to offer here. Or it may be actually, means maybe modest, but they feel that moved. I want this to be beneficial and supportive to as many people as possible. So even if you're offering the equivalent of a cup of coffee or a small amount, or an amount that might seem to you to be very modest, please, in the offering, connect with the goodness of that offering. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So that's how this works. And of course, it may be. And some people have the means in which, and recognizing that others have less means or very little means, others have more, and feel able to sort of offer a large amount, as if you're offering it on behalf of others who are not able to do so. And that's beautiful too. So whatever the situation, whatever's possible, just to thank you for the dana offerings that you make and the ways in which those dana offerings are beneficial and supportive. So thank you. Yeah. And nice to see some of your comments about dharma. Nice to see. Yeah, some of you who I've known, the 5 people, 6 people who appear on my screen at the moment, all people I've known and hung out with in the flesh, as it were. Nice. All right. And nice to hear, like Adela says, the joy in offering dharma. Buddha talks always about dharma as a foundation for happiness. To connect with it. It's so good in a complicated world. It's good to be able to do something where we feel, oh yeah, this is clearly beneficial and supportive. Wonderful. So please, if you make an offering, to connect with that sense of gladness, good-heartedness, benefit, support, joy in making your offering. All right. Giles says, I was told I was fine, lucky, and had nothing to complain about in an unhelpful way by family when I was young. And I can hear, stop telling yourself your hard luck story in a similar fashion, even though I know the intent is very different. Yeah. Any suggestions on how I can hear this differently, as it can feel similar? Well, just like it sounds like that's what you're doing, Giles, right? You're discerning out. There's 2 things, right? There's the present reality where you can hear that it's different, right? You can hear the wisdom of giving up my hard luck story. And then there's the historical imprint, wherein there wasn't room for you to have some difficulty. It's actually very similar in my own family. I was told very much, oh, you're all right, Martin. And my brother, who had some other kinds of challenges, was kind of framed very differently. Oh, he's got difficulties. Oh, he needs a lot of attention. Oh, and then he kind of became framed by that. And I got framed by, oh, everything's all right with you. You're all right. You've got no problems. And so I was like, oh, haven't I? There's no room for me to have that. And so, the part of it is digesting the history, realizing, okay, what shut down in me? Right? Oh, I've got nothing to complain about. I can't complain. So then maybe it becomes difficult to access emotions of fear or loneliness or struggle in some way. Important to give access to those. But one can, and then you can actually meet struggle, pain, fear, confusion, difficulty, without telling yourself a hard luck story. Right? You can acknowledge that was there. Oh, this is what I've inherited. Right? Oh, and this is what needs attention. And it's what I've inherited and what needs attention. Rather than adding the poor me, oh, why did I inherit that? Oh, my family did this to me, and that means now I've got this thing that I can't let go of. And that just, it might be true in some way, but by telling yourself that, we reinforce it. We've all got a hard luck story, and then I guess what's interesting is, am I reinforcing mine, or am I waking up to it? There's different ways to engage. It's like with therapy. The idea of therapy is that you're exploring your hard luck story so as to move beyond it and move past it. And that's what good therapy is doing. And yet sometimes when therapy isn't so good, I wonder, wow, are they telling their hard luck story in order to put it down, in order to understand it and move beyond it? Or sometimes you find, telling it so many times, you're actually just reinforcing it. So it seems to me, Giles, just the fact that you're recognizing, there's the present reality about being able to put down a hard luck story, and there's a historical imprint that needs some care and attention. You're just discerning the difference between those. Yeah. I'm not sure if that quite meets the way you're asking the question. You can always let me know if that's helpful or not in the comments. Yeah. And then Sarah says, sometimes I sense I'm having the experience of dissolving, letting go, but my mind jolts me back, perhaps thinking that I'm falling asleep. I'm not sure how I would be able to tell which one is happening. Presence. If you're falling asleep, there's a sort of dullness. And so there's some sense of, there's a certain, as we soften, expand, open, there's a certain sense of luminosity. certain fundamental qualities that awareness has. One of them is luminosity. The other is presence. Another is spaciousness, expansiveness. Another is kind of coolness, we could say. Coolness, sometimes called equanimity or non-reactivity. Since things can be met without drama. Another is lovingness or compassion. There's that sense of feeling, there's a kind of tenderness towards whatever arises. And it may be that you can discern any of those things. It's not like one sense is they're all here at once necessarily, but as you really let go, dissolve, open, it tends to be that one or other of those particular inherent characteristics of awareness stand out to you. Oh, space. It's just very apparent. Or, oh, the luminosity of awareness is very apparent. And if none of those particular qualities are apparent, it may be that you're going dull actually and sort of spacing out in some way. Right? If you only know the disillusion when you come back, then that's probably more the spacing out or going to sleep. But if you're aware of the dissolving as it's happening and you're tracking it, then you might start to be curious. What are you dissolving into? What are the qualities, or what, if any, is the quality that stands out of the awareness into which you're dissolving? So that's probably enough to say about that. The one thing I would say is just that the cessation is another thing, and I just mentioned it very briefly in case that's what's going on, Sarah. And in cessation, all those qualities also collapse, and there's a complete, like the sort of cessation of perception, and that goes into such a stillness and such a stopping that actually we are no longer, there isn't awareness even. Awareness also folds in on itself, and that we only notice afterwards when the cessation stops and perception starts again, and then we realize there's been a kind of gap of a total absence. But you can tell if that's what's happening, because in the coming back, one feels very, very bright and alive and refreshed, as if you just had the kind of deepest sleep of your life and woke up perfectly. And so if that's happening, that may be cessation. But if it's more coming to with a sense of dullness, again, that's more the sign of spacing out. So yeah, those things, as we connect with them, those qualities of awareness that I mentioned, or the cessation experience, they become, especially once we've heard the description of them, they become quite clear and obvious when they're happening. Yeah. And then, I don't know what your name is, but Oxy123 says, I'm struggling to find a job at the moment, and I have internal blocks to going back to work after some time off, which I'm trying to be respectful of. However, my finances are precarious. I'm essentially in a tight spot. Yeah. Should I continue pushing myself to have acceptance or faith, or is it about changing tack? Wow. So I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know enough about the situation, you know. So it's interesting what you talk about, the internal blocks. Oh, the internal blocks need some care and attention, right? Don't try to push with the internal blocks. No, they need tenderness, openness, exploration, willingness to kind of bring them into the light of awareness, hold them gently, etc. So that's not where the pushing is. And yet some sense of perseverance to keep going. It's like often we feel like I have to push through these blocks because I need a job. Or if I don't push through them, I sort of collapse into them. And that can mean collapsing into the hard luck story, collapsing into self-pity, collapsing into a sense of feeling defeated by one's difficulties, challenges, etc. So what Buddha talks about as the middle way, we're actually being very attuned to and caring for those internal blocks, while just continuing in a kind of steady way to keep doing what you need to do, which is probably, you know, looking for work, applying for positions, etc. Right. So just to be aware of the tendency of push, collapse, and the way those kind of condition each other. And every morning you push, every evening you collapse, for example. And so what might be more skillful? I mean, being tender and attentive, but also being kind of steady in doing what you need to do. Yeah, so I wish you well with that. All right. Thank you for being. Oh, one more question, Ariane. I'm struggling to find a drama-free way of relating to my dad's suffering about his accelerating aging. I'm still compassion fatigued from a time of intensely caring for my mum, and I'm mostly shutting down, running away, numbing my own feelings while getting back control in my own life. Yeah. So maybe you've heard me say this before, Ariane, but my formula for dealing with family in difficult times is maximum sincerity, minimum time. And what I mean by that, if things have been very difficult with your mum, it sounds like you're a little burned out, exhausted, fried by that. And so the sense of being pulled into your dad's drama, your dad's hard luck story, his understanding his suffering about his accelerating age, short contacts. I don't know enough about where you are, how close you live to him, but whether it's visits or whether it's phone calls, regular, short, just checking in, Dad, and then you stay around for as long enough that you can authentically manufacture some kind of warmth and care for him, and then you get out before you get into the Dad and your stuff, and I can't bear to listen to this anymore, right? So that you can stay in touch with the care for him and care for his situation. Because once you get bogged down in feeling resentful or burned by it, or like it's just reinforcing and it's exhausting, then you're not of any help to him anymore, and it's adding to your own sense of burden. Right? So I hope that makes sense in the way I've described it. Let the contents be short moments, oft repeated, but emphasis on the short. Check in, get out. And then so he still feels like you're there and available, etc. You still feel like you're showing up, but you're not getting bogged down. Yeah. All right. George has just kindly posted a link to my day of practice later this month, on the 25th. Okay, good. It's good. It's called Insight and Integration. And we'll be looking at there's the ways experience opens up and how we integrate that. Sort of like looking at the parallel tracks of formal practice and the way experience opens up there, and the integration of that into the wider spheres of our life and our informal practice domains. Yeah. Friends, I wish you well. Please go gently through the day. Please hold your hard luck story lightly and loosely and lovingly. Thank you for your practice all week. Thank you for the dharma you've offered. Thank you for the ways you support each other and also the way of supporting Sangha Live. Thank you, George, for pushing the buttons, managing the tech, highlighting the questions, posting the links, looking after us all in various ways. Thank you.